This is an introduction to ClrDbg, which is a user interface for the Microsoft.Diagnostics.Runtime.dll, or ClrMD. To run the program, simply double-click the executable in the zip file. This is the user interface. The user interface allows you to open up a dump file from the hard drive or a running process from the Processes tab. At the top, you'll notice this button, this X button here. Everything in this program is multi-threaded, so as you make a request to open a file, the button becomes enabled and you can stop the process by clicking the X button. So here are the heap statistics for this particular dump file. You can see the object types. Everything is summarized by the type of the object, the number of objects, the total memory allocated, the largest instance, and some more statistics. You can drill down into the actual objects by clicking on the object count. So these are the actual string values in the heap, and this string is quite long. It's truncated to 100 characters. The actual length is 7,500, and you can visualize it by you can see the whole string by clicking on the magnifying glass. And it's you can see it's an XML, so you can use these to toggle back and forth. Okay, so that's the string object. Let's find something maybe a little more. Let's find an array. Let's look at an array of dates. I have a few here. So there's 7 date-time arrays, and you can see the array lengths here, 128. So hopefully there's a few actual dates in them. So to see the actual contents, click on the object ref hyperlink. So here you can see the actual date time values and the index. It looks like after the 25th index there's no more values. So the ClrDbg does a bit of the work for reconstructing a few of the common structs from the heap back into objects. Yeah, so that's an array. So you can really drill down into the heap and see all the objects on the heap, and filtering is pretty useful if you're looking for a particular object. Another cool thing, once you're in an object, is ClrDbg will show you, let's say, it'll show you allow you to drill into the type and see the fields and the methods. So go back into the objects. It'll show you the referenced from count, which will show you where the object is actually being referenced from. So if you have an object that's taking up a lot of memory, then you can hopefully track back to where that object is actually being referenced from at a higher level, and fix that memory issue. So that's all about objects. It also lists the threads. So say this one has an exception thrown. So that's pretty useful if you're running program and it has an error. Okay, so here's the stack trace. Let's see. So it ran. This was the top. Let's see. Yeah, starting from the bottom, here's the thread start, and it goes up. And finally, somewhere in this method, an exception was caught, or I should say thrown. And similar to the heap for the total for the overall dump file, within each thread you can also drill down into that and see the objects specifically allocated by that thread. And again, this is the same. The stack objects here is the same screen as the objects tab up at the top. And the exception tab shows a little bit more information on the exception, so more of a summarized view of the exception. And blocking objects, I haven't found any. I don't think there's any. Oh, there's one blocking. Okay, here's one blocking object. You can see the tabs when you double click on the threads here, and it opens up a new tab at the bottom. And the ID of the tab is the managed thread ID. Let's go ahead and close the first one there. So this one has a blocking object. Okay, yeah, so nothing really. Windows safe handles. Okay, so that's the threads portion. Handles. These are all the I think these are all the Windows handles. Hwind. So again, you can click on the object. That'll get you into the sort of the drill down mode. This one's showing all the fields for this particular object and their corresponding values. So if we go back to, so reference from. So yeah, you can see where all the objects are referenced from. So the handles is pretty similar to the objects tab. It has more specific information related to the type of the handle. So if you wanted to say search for a specific type of handle, the pinned or strong, weak, short, weak, long. Okay, so that's the handles there. App domains. Here you can see more of a view of the modules that the program is using. So if you click on the modules here, it will open up this screen, which shows you all the modules that the program is using. So typically a lot of Microsoft DLLs. Yeah, these grids automatically resize when you scroll up or scroll down. So if that gets annoying, you can set the column widths to manual, and that keeps all the columns more consistent. Okay, so on this screen, you'll notice this load public debug file here. It's not. I haven't gotten that quite to work yet. Seems like the debug files are being rejected, so I don't know if that's an issue with the ClrMD project, but I'll get that worked out. But the idea is that eventually you'll be able to click and load a public debug file, which will bring in the source line information, which will make it easier to fix exceptions and figure out where those exceptions are actually, which line is actually causing the exception to happen. Yeah, but currently it's they just get rejected. And then view types. Let's take a big one here. So sort by. Okay, so that's the largest DLL presentation framework. So if you wanted to see all the types within a specific framework or a specific DLL, click on that. You can see it's working up here. If I click the X, it would cancel the overall process. Okay, so how many types? Okay, so 2,779 types, and I mean you can see all this stuff, most of the stuff online anyway, but you know, if it's a bit more convenient to have it at your fingertips. You know, if you wanted to see the fields for a particular object or class, click that. And then the grouping, you can see some of the rows are colored blue and some of them are yellow. It basically organizes it by hierarchy, so at the top it's the most specific. In this case there's only 2 levels. There's the class itself, and then I think it extends common dialogue. Common dialogue should have a base class. Let's see. Base type object, yeah. I think it must be overriding. Let's see. Fields. Oh, I'm in the fields. Yes. Okay, so yeah, so here are all the fields. Exciting stuff. Okay, and let's see, I think that basically wraps it up. I guess I'll talk about the symbol at the top here. So symbol path, try prompt, or try download. So as ClrDbg is trying to open up a dump file or process, there's an option in the ClrMD library to try to automatically download the corresponding DLL, and that's needed in order to open up the statistics. And if it can't be found, then you won't be able to. It'll give an error message saying that particular. Let's see. So let me show you that real quick. Let's see. I think I have one. Yeah, you'll get some sort of error message that it's not compatible. Okay, yeah, so that's it. That's an introduction to ClrDbg.